Okay, I know that I'm complaining again about something Pokemon related, even though my last video I did just that. But in my defense, we are getting Mario movie news tomorrow, and I feel that I might as well get all my negativity out of the way before I go into that with a very screamy yet excited mindset. I'm really excited for that, by the way. The Yoshi design leaked for it. It is so adorable. I will be screaming about that tomorrow, so please be ready for that. But for now, we got to get the negativity out of the system. Hey guys, Cyanize here, and today we're going to be talking about how Pokemon yet again takes another L. But please do not get it twisted. Okay, I'm not hating this to be a blind hater. I'm hating this because I already hated game key cards anyway, and I think it's absolutely stupid how we're getting our first party title as a game key card. Now, if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, they just announced the release date for Pokopia, as well as announcing that we're going to be getting a trailer on November 13th. Well, they say it's a special video, but it's going to be a trailer. But yeah, they didn't really add too much to the game that we didn't really already know about. It's mainly the fact that they announced that the physical copy of Pokemon Pokopia is going to be a game key card, and that grinds my gears for a variety of reasons. Now, I'm not going to get too into why game key cards are kind of bad. I've kind of already explained that plenty enough on this channel. But if you guys don't know, game key cards are basically Nintendo Switch 2 cartridges that have no game data on the cartridge whatsoever and acts more so as a key to download the game, basically being this middle ground between physical and digital games, where I feel like absolutely nobody wins in this scenario because you don't get the perks of it being digital and you don't get the perks of it being physical. So who does this appeal to really? Absolutely nobody. And especially for me as a physical collector, it's just a giant middle finger. I mean, I could overlook the packaging. I mean, I have a couple of Nintendo Switch 2 editions where they have that giant black bar of text down at the bottom of the box art. I could overlook that, but it's another thing when I'm getting a physical game with the hopes of having that game forever, so that when the services go down or for whatever reason I want to play the game offline, I am able to. But now I'm just not able to because half of these games are game key card and not a physical cartridge, and it is absolutely annoying. I will say in Nintendo's defense, however, that Nintendo is only producing 64GB cartridges, so I would definitely understand if there was like a third party that was only producing like 10GB games. Why would they waste all those resources to put a very small game onto a 64GB cartridge? In that sense, I definitely understand, especially in the sense of third parties when they're already, you know, selling the game at a cost because they're already giving a profit towards Nintendo. So giving out another profit in terms of putting their game on these cartridges that don't even use the full cartridge size. Yeah, I do not blame these third-party publishers for not wanting to put their games on these over-bloated cartridge sizes. I tried to say that like 3 times, by the way. God, that is a mouthful. I really do hope Nintendo does produce some smaller cartridges going forward, but I imagine the reason they're doing it this big is for the loading times that the Nintendo Switch 2 is advertising. So we'll just have to see what the future holds. Maybe the backlash will give them an idea on what to do in regards to the future, but for now we have to deal with game key cards. But now, onto Pokopia. Why are we mad about Pokopia? Why are we mad that that's a game key card? Now, obviously, Pokemon is kind of its own thing, and in this instance, it would be more considered second party. But even though this game is more of a spin-off, this is still technically a first-party major release title from the Pokemon Company of all things. And I know people get annoyed when I say this, but the biggest multimedia franchise ever. Why is this thing a game key card? I really do think context matters here, because this isn't just some random third-party publisher. This is Pokemon that is being published by Nintendo on their console. This is a first-party major title being launched and put out as a game key card. I really don't mean to scare anybody, but I'm kind of scared of the precedent this might set. And while you can make the argument that Pokemon Company probably shouldn't be wasting resources on a more smaller budget title, and that it's probably a good thing that they're making this game a game key card, again, I am very scared of the precedent this might set, small game or big game otherwise. And I say that as somebody who does enjoy the smaller titles. I do think we do need more smaller bite-sized titles in an industry full of these big blockbusters that take like 5 to 10 years to put out. I think it is definitely okay to put out some smaller titles, but at the cost of the physical collectability of it that Nintendo is known for. That's really what does it for me. There was definitely a case for third-party titles being game key card, especially in the sense that Nintendo cannot produce any bigger cartridges, but for a first-party published title by the Pokemon Company of all companies to be a game key card, I mean, I don't know how else this comes across. This is just pure laziness. And even though this game is a smaller title, this game is definitely selling 10 million copies. There's just no no way. And possibly at $70 too. And if this thing is $70 and a game key card, yeah, you kind of lost me there. I'm definitely buying digital if that's the case. I definitely just feel very conflicted because on one hand, this is a really good thing because it means that Pokemon can definitely focus their resources on some of their bigger games and focus on putting those on the Switch too, instead of focusing on some of their smaller titles. But then on the other hand, the last time they said they were removing something for the sake of quality, we ended up getting Sword and Shield, and Sword and Shield was definitely a choice. I mean, even though I'm throwing a lot of shade at Pokemon, there's definitely just a lot of factors here outside of Pokemon and the Pokemon Company, Nintendo, the video game industry, manufacturing, all that fun stuff. Pokemon just happened to be dealt a poor dice roll in regards to this game, and unfortunately they're going to be the punching bag in regards to first-party titles now being game key cards, because yeah, I am really not a fan of this, and I'm really not a fan of the precedent this sets. Imagine the next 3D Mario game, the next major 3D Mario game, and it was a game key card. Imagine that. Imagine what kind of world that would be now that we have this. I mean, jokes aside, I don't think they would ever do that. I think it's pretty easy to guess which games wouldn't be game key cards, but now the thought is in my head. I think that's the worst part, is that now that the doors have been open, it's just the fact that now we could get Switch 2 first-party titles as game key cards if the games are not big enough to warrant a full-on cartridge size. And heck, even most of the first-party titles we've gotten this year, like Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World, both of those games did not fill up their 64GB cartridge size whatsoever. So I can't even imagine what the future for game key cards is going to look like, especially for first-party titles now that we have the door open here. But anyways, I'm hoping this is the last video I have to make on game key cards. It probably won't be, but we'll just have to see. I'm really scared that first-party titles are not immune to the game key card effect, but I guess we'll know with time how that ends up looking like. Stay hydrated, stay cool, and I will see you all tomorrow for the Mario movie stuff. I cannot wait to talk about that. All right, now I'm going to go do my daily run. Bye-bye!